Hi guys, it's Elijah here, and welcome to a new series which is starting called Random Ramblings. Now this is going to be a podcast-esque video that I do after I've written a review, just explaining why I might have liked or disliked an anime or manga after I've released a review. So, just to start off with, I reviewed Free as the anime this week. And on the review, I gave it a 6.25 out of 10, so that's a fine rating. But if I was to really give it a rating based on enjoyment, I'd say it was good. I'd say the anime was good, so I'd give it a 7 out of 10. But that's just based on enjoyment, not including things such as the problems of the story, characters, or art. I mean, sound can play a pretty big major role in it, but it's not exactly something that you really care too much about if you're just your average viewer, which is what this is kind of aimed at. So, my problem with the story was that it doesn't depict an accurate display of emotion in terms of winning and losing. So what I mean by that is that in sports anime, at least the ones I've seen, one thing that's really captured my attention is when a team wins or loses, there's a whole lot of emotions going through everyone's minds. Like, for example, in Domino Ace, so this is going to include spoilers. I forgot to mention that, but I'm going to include spoilers from other anime as well. So when I forgot to research, I forgot to memorize some of this stuff. So we're just going to quickly forget about that. So, in Domino Ace, when a team loses, particularly the team that is focused on, that we are looking at, when they lose, you can see the psychological effects of winning and losing in such a way where it affects the very character of the person, their actions and their expressions. So when something happens, such as a loss, you can feel, you also feel the depression of losing. And when I watch Free, I don't get that. Like, all the characters besides Rin, they're just like, oh yeah, we lost, it's all good bro, we're all together, we're good friends. And for me, that's just not realistic enough. Like, I understand that the story is based on friendship can win you anything and all of that, but when you're trying to make a story that focuses on characters, that's my take on my take on Free. They're based on character building because you don't need to explain swimming. Swimming's a fairly straightforward sport because most people do grow up learning how to swim and knowing what advanced swimming has. So that gives them a lot more room to develop characters. But I feel like when they were developing the characters, they didn't really do it well. They didn't do a really good job. So when it comes to when they lose a race in swimming, they're just like, oh yeah, bro, it's okay. When in reality, they've worked hard. They've worked to get to this point and actually do well. And when they lose, they should be pretty upset. They should be like, oh man, I lost that one. I really did, but I'll do better next time. Something like that at least. Like something that just shows that they're sad. Like, from playing sports myself, I know that when you try to do well at the sport, and you don't succeed, you feel very depressed afterwards, and that just didn't come through in Free. Another problem which I had with the story was more of a character thing, but it's also based in story, is that he learns to swim the butterfly with no coaching. Like, sure, he had the theory all down and pat, but theory is not going to cut it. Butterfly is it's a somewhat hard stroke to learn how to swim. Because you're doing a dolphin kick and you're swinging your arms, you're doing a circular motion with your arms at the same time. And at least when I was doing swimming, when I was younger, last time I did swimming was, when I got coached how to swim at least, was like 6-7 years ago, so I might not be accurate, but it's a pretty hard stroke to actually learn, even when you are being coached, like with any other stroke. but I can understand freestyle, I can understand breaststroke, I can understand backstroke, because those are a lot more simple. I mean, breaststroke's a bit more complicated because you're doing more motion, the motions are different. But either way, I still feel that the butterfly shouldn't have been able to learn that without any coaching or anything like that. But what makes this plot hole seemingly better is because it's being followed. It was a follow up from a metaphor that they saw before, that butterflies are free, and the whole anime is about finding freedom and all that, along with building the characters. So I felt it bothered me, but it didn't bother me as much because they did do that link with the two scenes. The characters are pretty flimsy, and when I say flimsy, I mean like Haruka. He's pretty much, he's unemotional, and I like unemotional characters, don't get me wrong, but he's just, I don't know, like, when he, say, in one part of the anime, they went swimming at night and got caught in a storm, and afterwards, Haruka just started telling him off. Another character was like, bruh, it's so cool, we're all here now. And he's just like, okay, I'm happy now. It just feels like whenever something bothers him, until someone says it's okay, man, he's gonna be angry or upset. But until that person says it's okay, he doesn't get upset. And the only time he does get upset is when he loses to Rin in a race, and then Rin goes, "I'm never gonna be racing with you again," and then he gets super depressed. It wasn't because he lost he got super depressed, it was because Rin told him they weren't going to race together again. That's what made him depressed. And I really enjoyed that moment because he did get depressed. But then his friends was like, "Oh, it's okay, man, let's just go fight him." And yeah, and it just felt like he was a really flimsy character. Well, on the other hand, Rin was a far better character. He was a far better character. He was so much more interesting. I mean, he went to Australia, he did poorly in Australia, that affected his will to swim, that affected his dream. He was psychologically tormented by losing. He showed those emotions that I was talking about before, about with winning and losing. He was such a better character than any other character in the anime, in my opinion. I just feel like he was the standard that the characters were supposed to be set out. And they're like, hey, pretty pictures, we can focus on them. And then the rest of the characters just kind of got the short end of the stick. That's how I feel. The art was pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it. There was definitely some scenes with the animation which I thought were awesome. But I feel that the art was focused on to a point where the other aspects, such as the characters, were just given the short end of the stick. And sure, you can have a really nice looking anime, but a really nice looking anime with a not so great story or characters or something like that isn't going to really do you any favors. I had another point, I can't remember what that other point was. At the end, when Ray goes, Levin, he goes, "Oh, fuck this shit, I'm quitting swimming," after he comes ninth in the swimming. He goes to the school, and then the other four chase him, and when the other four chase him and find him, they just go, "Hey man, just swim with us, man, in the relay, it's all good, man." And he just joins them, and it's just like, yeah, it's not very realistic, and that was probably the most disappointing moment I had with Ray, that he just had such a change of heart. I mean, there was a reason for that change of heart, but it wasn't good enough to make that complete change of heart. That's what I feel like, at least. And the anime just kind of focuses on the comedy aspects, and it's like, oh, we're being really serious now, and then we go to comedy, and the switch between that didn't really do any favors in my opinion. Anyway, that's my random rambling of free. Yeah, spoilers, I'm sorry, but I kind of warned you. So, thanks for listening. Enjoy yourselves a good one. And I see you guys later. Peace.